So last summer, we had a little event here, and the mayor was good enough to attend with us, where we celebrated Canada's first residential super tall building. In other words, a building that exceeds 300 meters in height. So when complete, this building will be home to a new 5-star hotel, luxury retail, and you're standing, some of you sitting, in the primary retail space, and we'll have over 400 new condominium homes. So Tridel has been building homes in Toronto and the GTA for more than 90 years. In fact, our very first home was not far from here in the Bloor and Dufferin area, the single-family house on Lappin Avenue in 1934. So we've clearly seen the housing landscape evolve, but the need for collaboration has never been greater. So today I want to acknowledge the leadership across all 3 levels of government and your commitment of support for the housing industry. We certainly appreciate the shared focus on increasing housing supply, making homes more affordable, supporting jobs in the construction sector, most importantly, and eliminating red tape, making it faster and easier to get projects approved. We've heard that before, so we got all the right people here. That kind of partnership is essential if we're going to deliver more homes of all types at a pace our communities need. So, Premier Ford, delighted to have you here today. Federal Housing Minister Gregor Robertson is right here. From the Ontario government, we also have Minister Solomon. Some of my names have been changed since this morning, but glad to have you here. From the Government of Ontario, of course, Minister Peter Bethenfolly, Minister Rob Flack. We have, of course, an entourage from the City of Toronto led by Mayor Olivia Chow. I want to thank you all for being here today and for your continued commitment to tackling the challenges that we have and we face today in housing. Thank you, JBD. So I would also like to do a special shout out to the Honorable Rob Flack. And I do that and his hardworking staff, Robert, Tanner, and Joseph, of course. Lots of good work being accomplished in the last little while in the housing file, so congratulations. Certainly the same thing to say for you, Minister. A lot of things have happened in a very short period of time, all very positive. Of course, Mayor Olivia Chow and your great team here, supporting you in the challenges on the housing file. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't point out Jag Sharma, who's around here somewhere. I can't see him. And of course, Jen Chan, always being available to our industry to listen and being accessible. We have some other members of our industry here today, and I'm going to apologize if I miss some of you because the lineup has changed a little bit, but we have some industry titans with us. Alan Menkes from Menkes Developments is here today. Welcome, Alan. Peter Gilgan, of course, everybody knows from Mattamy. Larry and Ken Tannenbaum from Kilmer, thank you for coming today. Harvey Valentine from Castle Point. And I'm going to miss a few, I'm sorry for that, but all welcome. So, having said all of that, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our very first speaker, the City of Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow.
Good afternoon. Premier Ford, Minister Robertson, all the ministers, and all the member of parliament. All the home builders. I see Dream and Concord, etc. Yes, of course, Mattamy, Kilmer, Tricon, Castle Point. Okay, I need to stop because I can just keep going. Thank you for being here. The City of Toronto, our city manager, Paul Johnson, our money person, CFO, Steve Conforti here, and all the workers that help build. Thank you for being here. I see you back there. Yes, I can see. Thank you. I am very pleased and honored to join you all today to announce a new and historical partnership to build tens of thousands of new homes, invest in critical infrastructure in our city, and create thousands of good jobs in the trades and home building. Today's investment comes when the City of Toronto and its people need it most. In uncertain times, when people are worried about what the future might bring, they need to know that their government is on their side, providing stability and strength. We need to build more homes, especially homes that people can afford, build better public transit and roads to keep people moving, build bigger water pipes to serve new neighborhoods. And it's only possible when all three levels of government and the building industry work together. I remember having a meeting. Actually, it was the building industry, the home builders, that said, Mayor, you need to bring the federal and the provincial government together in one room to talk about what we need to do together. And that's exactly what happened. Minister Flack and Minister Robertson, thank you for coming together. And we thought that it's really important for us to invest in the city and lower the cost of building. So I'm very honored both the federal and the provincial government have confidence in Toronto in our ability to lower the cost to build homes and build them faster. And today's announcement, reduce development charges across the board. The bigger the units, the more affordable it is to build. Whether you're building condos, rentals, sixplexes, it'll be faster processes, no delays, no red tape. Together, we are making it much more affordable to build homes. And yes, you don't even need to apply this as of right. The city will add even more incentives on top of today's announcement to get more affordable homes built faster. I am reopening the immensely successful city's purpose-built rental incentive program. Builders who make 1 in 5 units affordable get 100% of their development charges waived. That is up to 10,000 units. Tens of thousands of Torontonians will have new homes built right here in Toronto. They will also get better roads, public transit, and good basic infrastructure. As a municipality, we've been doing our part to lower the cost of building and relentlessly cut red tape. Since 2024, the City of Toronto has cut over $1.2 billion in development charges, taxes, and fees to get thousands more homes built. More affordable units and multiplex are being built as a result. That translates to 7 out of 10 projects being built right now in the city, supported by the city during this housing downturns. We've also transformed how fast we approve housing. For decades, Toronto was slower than almost anywhere else. Now, through our development review division, projects are approved 80% faster, from 3.5 years down to less than 8 months, and we're not done yet. We're going to cut that by 50% sometime in mid-August, saving builders time and money and getting people into affordable homes faster. As housing starts slow in this difficult market, today's provincial and the federal funding will help jumpstart home building across the spectrum. That's exactly what is needed now. I want to thank the provincial and the federal government for their partnership and for the recognition that municipalities have limited financial means. So whether you're looking for a home or you're a tradesperson worried that jobs are drying up, today's announcement will bring relief. More homes, more jobs. All 3 levels of government pulling together, building, delivering for people. And that's what this moment calls for. As always, Toronto is ready to build. So let's get building. Thank you so much, and I now will pass it to local MP Danielle Martin.
Merci, bien, bonjour à tous et à toutes et bienvenue au cœur de University Rosedale. Welcome to the heart of University Rosedale. My name is Danielle Martin. I'm your local member of parliament, and I'm so thrilled to be here today to welcome Mayor Chow, Premier Ford, Minister Robertson, Minister Solomon, my parliamentary colleagues, Julie Zurowitz and Maggie Chi, and so many leaders from all levels of government, from industry, and among workers to celebrate this important announcement. This is such an important day because we all know that here in Toronto, we need more homes and we need them fast, which means that governments at all levels have got an obligation to create the tools and the incentives necessary to make it easier for our partners to put those shovels in the ground. And no level of government and no industry partner can do that alone. It's a job that requires coordination and collaboration across all levels of government. So I know that people in University Rosedale, all across this wonderful city of Toronto and across the country, will welcome today's news and see that we are working together to get things done for people. It's my pleasure now to introduce Minister Gregor Robertson, Canada's Federal Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, to share more about today's announcement and our government's commitment to working across all levels of government towards this shared priority. Thank you. Minister Robertson.
Thank you, Danielle. And just getting my team up here from the federal side of things. Great to be back here in Toronto alongside our newest MP, Danielle Martin, and her riding. Of course, Premier Ford, Minister Flack, and Minister Bethenfalvey, Mayor Chow, and the provincial and city teams. Great to have you here. Also joined by our Parliamentary Secretary for Health, Maggie Chi, and the Chair of our Toronto Caucus, Julie Zurowitz, and Minister Evan Solomon. We are thrilled to be here and to be supporting the home building and infrastructure efforts here going forward, because Canada is in an affordability crunch, and this has been decades in the making. We have our work cut out for us to build more affordable housing, to make sure that home ownership gets back into reach for many more Canadians. We have infrastructure to invest in. It's aging across the country. We've got to pick up the pace on that. Generally speaking, our communities need a lot more support from all levels of government contributing. And this is all part of our big goal to build Canada strong, making sure that the Government of Canada is leading the way with this and forging these incredibly strong partnerships. We're taking major steps on the Canadian front. We've launched Build Canada Homes. It is now officially a Crown corporation as of last Friday, working with the industry, working with the City of Toronto and many other communities across the country, provinces and territories. We have over 11,000 homes now in the works through Build Canada Homes and thousands more underway. En faisant appel à la main-d'œuvre et des matériaux canadiens, nous construisons davantage de logements abordables, de manière plus intelligente et plus rapide. But we need to bring this approach to everything that we're doing. We need to build more homes in Toronto and across Canada. We also need to be investing in that key infrastructure that enables it. In far too many communities, the existing infrastructure is not cutting it anymore. It can't support building more homes, can't support the families who are trying to build their lives there. So cutting taxes and launching Build Canada Homes were two major pieces of the puzzle. Today, we're talking about next key steps, cutting development charges to bring down home building costs and investing in infrastructure. That's why we are here today to mark a major milestone in the Canada-Ontario Municipal Development Charge Reduction Program. That's a big acronym if you want to try. Partnering with the City of Toronto to support housing enabling infrastructure projects while reducing the cost of building new homes by approximately $83,000 on average. So that makes a huge difference for people across the city who are looking to unlock construction of more homes while supporting the community infrastructure that our neighborhoods need. And I just want to give a shout out to Jim and the Tridel team for hosting us, and all the builders who are here for your leadership, getting through some tough times. I think we're all having to adjust a lot faster and deeper than we might have expected. These are uncertain times around the world, and that has affected the market. It's affected everything. I would just want to thank the builders, the leaders we have here, the workers for their patience and fortitude as we come through these challenging times, and try and make the best moves that we can possibly make to rebound and get our housing market back on track, and most importantly, get affordability available to all Canadians. Reducing the development charges and the burden to start building new housing is a critical part of that, and making it easier to get shovels in the ground and homes built faster across this city. Thanks to the mayor and her team for being out in the lead on this, being the first to work this out with the province of Ontario. Thanks to Ontario for being the first province or territory to step up and deliver.
Few years down the road, but thank you for that very good question.
I also wanted to ask you about Protect Ontario ads. We just got back some FOI records showing that just one ministry spent $10 million on these ads. We're still waiting for records from other ministries.
Yep.
A lot of critics say that these are just to boost your own image and the government's image. How can you justify spending taxpayer dollars on these ads?
Well, I think it's great that we're informing people. And you know what I love? I love the federal ads too, because what we're doing, their job and our job is to inform the people what our governments are doing. Inform the people how we're collaborating together to make life easier and more affordable by cutting taxes, as the federal government and the provincial government and municipalities are doing. So if we don't inform people, the only choice they have is to listen to the media. And I'll hold my comments on that.
Premier Ford, Mark McAllister from City News. Let's talk about polls some more, shall we? A few months ago, you had mentioned an internal government poll showing 70% in favor of expanding Billy Bishop Airport. Those numbers, however, were actually gathered at the end of November last year. Since then, in April, there's been another poll from Liaison saying 49% are opposed to the work. Another one today from Main Street saying 54% are opposed to this being done. Have you done any surveys since taking over the operation or moving in on it and making all the claims about expanding yourself?
Well, again, you could talk about polls and who's doing them, who's right, who's wrong. We know it's very popular because there's going to be thousands and thousands of jobs doing this. It's going to create convenience and opportunity for people to land here at beautiful Billy Bishop and go down to the largest city in the country, one of the largest cities in North America. It's going to boom the economy. It's going to drive up the economy. But do you know what it's also going to do? It's going to allow convenience, and it's going to allow competition for lower fees. Rather than go up to Pearson Airport and stand in line 3 hours before the flight and it costs a lot more, they're going to be competitive fees. Just watch how popular it's going to be. And all we're doing is moving it over 100 yards, expanding the runway for safety as well. So it's absolutely critical we get this done. We're the only large city that doesn't have two airports, but we'll have two airports that will allow more people to come and visit us and spend their tourist dollars and business dollars right here in Toronto.
Do you stand by the notion that the public is supporting this, though? Like
again, I stand by it because we've been out there, we've been talking to people. Again, you can go out and talk to any pollster you want. I know the real numbers, and the real numbers are, let's start moving on this, and we'll go from there. But thank you. And it's going to allow the Portlands to develop. There was a guy back in 2011 said we should build up the Portlands. Now, since we're moving the runway over a little bit, now they're going to be able to have higher density, create more housing in the Portlands.
Hi, Premier. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. Can you address what happened at Ford Fest last week? You were booed off the stage. You couldn't really spend any time there. And then a couple of your members, one of whom is here, posted a photo. Didn't show any of the protesters. It showed them all in blue shirts, and you called it a success. So, I mean, can you address the allegation that you're trying to rewrite history here?
No. So, first of all, folks, Ford Fest has been around for 31 years. And there's no elected official that can gather thousands, and in the entire country, by the way, thousands and thousands of people to come here. Am I disappointed that, they dropped off 4 busloads of protesters and were very vulgar language, using the F word every 10 seconds in front of little kids and family, intimidate thousands of our supporters. And then the best of all, they ate the hamburgers and ate the ice cream while they were protesting. So, something Ford Fest was created to come and have a family barbecue that's carried on for 31 years. Am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm disappointed that they came in and used vulgar language and tried to disrupt it. But they were there for about an hour, and then they left, and everyone had a great time. And it's just disappointing they'd use those tactics in front of young little kids and family that were just, and then intimidating them too. But I've always said everyone's welcome at Ford Fest. It's the largest family barbecue in the entire country. Always will be. We're going to continue doing it next year. And I apologize for the families that were sworn at, intimidated, and insulted.
Do you view the reaction to you as representative of how the public is starting to feel about you? We've heard about the polls. I know you just
love this,
that, but I mean,
folks, let me cut to the chase here. All you've done is attack me since I've been up here. We announced $1.5 billion. I ask you one thing. We know the numbers. I've told you the numbers. I've actually sent you numbers to take a look at. So let's go from there. And I don't call when you load 4 busloads of those folks out there shouting and screaming, moving forward. And the ironic thing is, I don't even negotiate it. We upped $400 million for services that we send to service providers. And guess what? They negotiate. I don't negotiate. But the good news is they told me they signed deals with 10 other locals, which is good. And we'll sign the rest. But I don't get involved in that. But thank you for that question on the building homes.
It's not an attack to ask you about a public event that happened and to question you about that. It's not an
but I just want to tell you, the buses were dropped off. You saw the buses on purpose. First time in 31 years to disrupt a family barbecue that's grown into thousands. The lovers outnumbered the 4 busloads 10-1, easy. And when I got calls after telling me all the stories, how they were sworn at in front of their kids, insulted, and it's really sad. But they made sure that they ate those burgers and drank their drinks and had their ice cream. I'm glad they enjoyed themselves as well.
Hi, Premier. Siobhan Morris from CTV News. I did want to ask you, this was intended for your Minister of Finance, but if you want to take it, by all means. OPSEU has been raising a lot of concerns about the amount of money going to private administrators of public services going past $1 billion a year. What's the reason for this increase, and how do you justify that, since that was private or publicly being delivered before?
Well, we've increased spending, and you can jump in here, Peter, if you want. We've increased spending in developmental services by $400 million. We have put more money, not a little bit, way more money than any government in the history of this province. We're going to continue supporting that sector, and we've already signed, I think it's close to 10 locals. So the other locals, they can do cartwheels, they can jump up and down, they can come to Queen's Park and do whatever they want. But what they shouldn't be doing is protesting outside of our ministers' homes. Who does that? Who stands in front of ministers' homes and harasses them and their neighbors and their communities? I don't know of anyone who does that, but I'll hand it over to you, Peter.
Thank you, Premier. You're absolutely right. We've been increasing the social services budget since we took office in 2018. It's now $22 billion. Premier, 100% right. We did a 3% increase for developmental wages for that is about little over $400 million over 3 years. So we're going to continue to be there. I would also remember that when we took office, our population was about 14 million. It's now 16.2 million. So we're taking care of more people, the most vulnerable. And you're absolutely right. We are, I'm also the interim president of the Treasury Board right now. And watching every penny is part of that mandate. And we want to make sure, and we've got a program, and I mentioned this in the budget in 2026 in March, that we are going to look at all the system and the people that deliver the money to the frontline workers, so the social workers, the healthcare workers, the educators, to make sure that every single penny, as much as possible, can go to the benefit of the most vulnerable, to our patients, to our students. So we are going to continue to watch the pennies very carefully to make sure that the dear taxpayer dollars, which we value very much, gets to the frontline workers, gets to the benefit of those people who need it most.
And about a question for Minister Robertson, actually.
You lucky, buddy. You got one.
I thought you had it covered.
Yeah, I thought I did too.
I'll give the Premier a break. I wanted to ask you about the plan to buy up vacant condos in Vancouver. Is that something you're looking at doing in Toronto? And how do you justify using taxpayer money to bail out, as some people are describing, developers?
Well, let me start with the broader toolkit here, because that's one tool that we can use to get more affordable housing available. But Build Canada Homes, as I mentioned, is our main approach with getting affordable housing built. We've got $13 billion invested there, including some in a rental protection fund that will be buying back apartments to protect that long-term affordable rental housing. We've also got the Build Community Strong Fund, which is investing in infrastructure to enable more housing and affordable housing to be built. A number of different tools through the National Housing Strategy, from Reaching Home for homelessness to significant programs like the Housing Accelerator Fund that 241 cities across the country are accessing to get more affordable housing built. So we have this large toolbox. Just to be clear, there was some confusion around the numbers. $3.2 billion was mentioned. That is the combined investment in infrastructure of Canada and BC that we announced. And this investment in vacant homes, effectively, that we are pursuing with BC is another tool that we're looking at. There'll be more details to come, but in a time like this where we have record levels of homelessness, we have people that can't access affordable rental apartments, and we have empty homes in Vancouver, in Toronto. We need to take action on this and make the most responsible decisions with it. There'll be more details on what that program is in the near term. Okay. Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Robertson, if I can get you one more question here. In terms of development charges, most provinces don't rely on development charges nearly as much as Ontario and BC do. Why is it appropriate to spend federal money collected from all provinces to solve a problem that is basically just Ontario and BC allowing some municipalities to be bad actors, for lack of a better word?
Well, the funding that is going to reduce development charges across the country is available to all provinces and territories. The formula is different for different provinces. Obviously, population factors largely in it, but also the condition of the housing market is an important piece of this puzzle. So obviously in Ontario's case and BC's, there are very high development charges compared to the price of housing. As you mentioned, many other provinces and territories do not have development charges. So the proportions are different across the different provinces and territories, and we're really focusing this investment in Ontario and BC, where the challenge is enormous with housing market, and ensuring that we get that market going again is good for all of Canada. Right now, it's impacting our economy. It's keeping people out of work. We got to get people back to work building. And at the same time, we need to be investing in infrastructure. All of this funding is going to infrastructure investments, building more infrastructure that helps us get more housing built. So we're tying these things together, and we're focusing on where the problem is the biggest here in the GTA and in Metro Vancouver.
And Premier Ford, multiple other municipalities have in fact cut development charges before this program was announced. I'm thinking of Vaughan, Burlington, I think even Hamilton. Now Toronto is joining the ranks of cities that have cut development charges, but only after getting $1.5 billion. Are you worried that the lesson for other cities to draw here is that they should keep their development charges high until you come to the door with a big bag of money?
Not at all. They're going to be supported. Vaughn's going to be supported, and anyone else that cut development charges. So we're going to take care of Mayor Del Duca and anyone else that has cut them earlier that led the way.
Premier Ford, Sean Jefford, CBC News. I want to also ask you about the program here today. You made an appeal during this press conference to all municipalities to step up and apply. There are some smaller municipalities in Ontario who have looked at this and said it's not worth the risk. And I wonder, they just can't afford to take the chance they'll lose out on the development charges. They need that money. If they don't buy in, if the Stratfords, if the Amherstburgs don't buy in, frankly, is it just enough to get Toronto involved, or will we have pockets of the province that don't have housing as a result, or more housing?
With housing, they need infrastructure, right? If they don't want to jump on board and take the money, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for people to move into their community, and once they build a home, they'll have new revenues come up. Isn't it amazing, folks, that the province has never, ever raised a tax? We've cut them by $12 billion, and guess what happened? We've seen $71 billion more up to the Queen's Park coffers. So you don't have to tax to get more revenues. You have to create the environment, which we have. We've seen over $222 billion of investment in our province. As the previous government chased 300,000 jobs out of our province, there's over 1 million more people working today that are paying taxes. This is economics 101. And I'm shocked that some governments, not all, but some governments, just don't believe in lowering taxes. I believe in putting money back into people's pockets. They're going to go out and do things they might otherwise not be able to do. Maybe put an addition on their home. Maybe save for down payment to buy a new home. Or as simple as going out for dinner. And you put money into businesses' pockets, guess what happens, folks? They invest it into their people, into technology, into infrastructure, into buying new equipment, and then they hire more people. Again, economics 101, and that's what we believe in.
Premier, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario recently wrote your government, and they're objecting to your push to appoint regional chairs. They're calling it undemocratic. This is a group that pretty rarely speaks out publicly and criticizes your government. I'm wondering what you think about this and if you're considering reversing course on this policy.
Well, we've done it already. The previous government has done it, so I'm not too sure what they're talking about. When I came to office, there was an appointment in Peel. There was an appointment in York Region. There was an appointment in Niagara and a few others. But you know what's funny? I didn't really change the appointments. I didn't care if they were liberal, because I know our good chair, and unfortunately he passed away, but he was a liberal. Folks, I don't care about political stripes. I care about one thing: supporting the people, putting money back in their pockets, and making life easier in Ontario, creating more jobs, creating safe communities. That's what I focus on.
Good afternoon, Premier Colin DeMello from Global News. So there seems to be a lot of positive reaction from the building industry related to the measures that you and the federal government have announced. I'm wondering, with all of this, the $200,000 in total discounts, will these measures get you to 1.5 million homes by 2031, or is that target no longer achievable?
Well, thanks for that, Colin. Let's see how we go, because already in 1 year it's increased over 300%. Yes, we've seen some uncertain times with President Trump's tariffs, but I feel when I was down in South Carolina and over in Washington, heading over to Utah, the ground is shifting right now down there. And if I didn't know there were Republicans and Democrats, they're singing off the same song sheet. People, folks, they want certainty, they want stability, and when you get certainty and stability, what happens? You get investment, you get production, you get jobs, you get lower cost of goods. And I have confidence that the Prime Minister and President Trump are going to work out a deal, because it's beneficial to both countries. So in uncertain times, yeah, it was tough last year. It's still tough out there. But in saying that, I think we'll increase the numbers. All I say is the builders build. And folks that were questioning if they were going to buy a home, if there was ever a time to buy a home, it's now. So that's what I encourage everyone to do, is go out there and get financing and buy a home.
Okay, thank you. And on the other topic, I'm not going to argue with you about polling, but it seems like politicians in this country have a shelf life, and it seems to be about 8 or 9 years. From Stephen Harper to Justin Trudeau to Dalton McGuinty, all of them, roughly at the 8-year mark, they started hitting the numbers that you're hitting now. Do you feel like Ontarians are turning the page on you, Premier?
Wow, that's a good one, Colin. I love that. Was smooth. What my prediction is, you're going to join the provincial Liberal Party. You're going to work with them, and you're going to run. That's my opinion. But,
no.
Okay, let's just see. But anyways, that's my personal opinion. I'm going on record. But anyways, in saying that, I'm sorry. In 8 years, Justin Trudeau wasn't sitting at 41%. And hopefully, when a poll, because you're obsessed with these polls, when Abacus, a very reputable firm, comes out and says what I just said, and our polling company. Unfortunately, last time they came out with positive numbers, you refused to post them. Absolutely refused to. So we'll see if these numbers will carry on for 3 weeks. And, with all due respect to the other premiers, I'm Doug Ford. I'm not Dalton McGuinty. God bless Dalton McGuinty. Kathleen Wynne. And I'm sure the heck not Justin Trudeau. So I apologize, guys, but I'm no Justin Trudeau, okay?
This will be the last reporter.
Hi, Premier. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press. I believe you'll be in attendance tomorrow to help Lake Constable Pinizzotto to rest tomorrow.
Yes, correct.
Wondering how you're feeling against the recent spate of violence against police officers.
Well, first of all, my condolences go out to the families. My condolences go out to, the people that are in critical condition, the police officers. I've put a letter to Premier Lance, as the chair of COF, for going out there, that we need an emergency meeting just on how we're going to protect our police officers. That hits home close to me. I have 3 son-in-laws that are police officers, but it also hits home to every single police service from coast to coast to coast. And we need to catch these criminals. We need to throw them in jail for life. And that's what we need to do, because this is devastating. If I'm not mistaken, there's 6 officers that have been critically hurt in ICU, and others have been absolute murdered, cold-blooded murder. So it's about time that we do everything in our power, all levels of government, to protect our police. And I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we protect our police officers, because I absolutely love them. They put their lives on the line every single day, and I'll always have their backs, and I will never, ever waver.
The police have warned of copycats of the Montreal shooting in wake of the discovery of this manifesto. I'm wondering if you're worried about that, and what you as a premier can do to prevent attacks against police.
Well, first of all, these criminals that are going on these social media sites that we can't access, we need access, no matter what it takes, from these big tech companies. And they're saying, oh, privacy, my butt. These are police officers that get killed. We need access, and you'll talk to every single police service in this country, from the RCMP, from the OPP, from every police service, that they need access from these tech companies to get these encrypted messages that they're offering $2,000 or $5,000 to go shoot up a synagogue or shoot up another place. Unacceptable. They're a bunch of little cowardly punks. And when we catch them, they need to go to jail for life. And the people that are paying the money, they need to go to jail for life. And these little punks that are having home invasions and affecting people's lives, we can't have these weak-kneed, bleeding heart judges letting him out on bail 4 or 5 times. And now with a bail reform that, by the way, all 13 premiers agreed unanimously that we toughen it up. And again, I want to thank the federal government for passing that. That's just one step of many that we can make our streets safer, because what's happening is unprecedented, not just here, right across North America. When I'm down there, I ask the police officers how many home invasions they get. Nothing compared to us. How many car thefts? Nothing compared to us. Do you know why? Because before the bail reform came in, they were getting let out constantly, 4, 5, 6 times, and they're just going and repeating these crimes. And a lot of these punks are 17 years old, getting paid a few $1,000s. We need to change that too. Because I know when I was 17, 18, I knew not to break in a house with a gun and shoot up the house and terrorize the neighbors and everyone else. So that's because people, I can tell you, people are so fed up because I talk to them, they take the law into their own hands. They want to protect their family. And I know every single man in this room and woman that if someone was attacking your little child or your kids, you would sacrifice your life to take the guy out. And I say a guy because they're all guys.
This concludes today's press conference.
All right, guys, we'll see you later. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. Leave your questions in the chat. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.